In Nigeria, women have less access to education, are politically and economically disadvantaged, and endure physical and sexual abuse.
That is sleeping with men, with guys to get money, because they want to give you before you want them to give you something before they lie with you. So you have to do that to get the money because you need it to take care of yourself.
But through increased awareness and education on reproductive health and HIV and AIDS, women can change their lives. Since 2004, Africa and Nigeria has worked to achieve this goal through the WISE Project, Women Initiative for Sex Education and Economic Empowerment. In the project, critical reproductive health training was combined with vocational and business training to empower young women with knowledge and skills, reducing their vulnerability to HIV and AIDS. The entrepreneurial and business skills training helped women to become financially independent and socially empowered, giving these women the knowledge and power to make decisions that protect their own health. Genevieve was unemployed. Today, she runs her own business and employs 6 young women.
Yes, they teach me about sort and foliage, that is bags, how to make bags, shoes, baby bed, throwing pillows, other things. So they taught me all that, and I'm doing it. Even right now, I have some contacts in Cuba. They do call me now, Genevieve, please, can you be able to make this for me?
Other women trained in batik, tie and dye, hairstyling, sewing, catering and other income-generating skills. The project also awarded startup equipment to successful candidates to help them establish their own businesses. In the health components, young women were taught about reproductive health and about prevention and treatment of sexually transmitted infections and HIV.
Went for our HIV test there, those that were detected. For those that have STIs, they were treating us on it, and they were really very good to us.
For sustainability in reaching vulnerable young women, WISE trained program graduates like Amina as peer educators to act as positive mentors in their communities.
Women's Initiative for Sex Education. Women be wise. Women's Initiative for Sex Education. Be wise. Women's Initiative for Sex Education. Women be wise. Women's Initiative for Sex Education. Africa is calling every woman in Nigeria to come. Africa will teach you prevention of the infection, and they will educate you to have self-control, and they will treat you nice. You don't have to pay and make you feel alright. They will make you see the light. Women in society.
Joining me is Dr. Chinwe Effiong, Program Director for Discovery Channel Global Education Partnership, and Shike Adiyeke, Senior Program Manager, Africare Nigeria. Ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Now, I just want to get right into everything, and so tell us what Africare is all about. Who were the beneficiaries, and who came up with the project?
Well, Africare is a nonprofit organization. It's actually the largest African-American owned and run nonprofit. It's about 40 years old now, has dispersed over $700 million in funds over the course of the 40 years, and is in about 25 countries. The WISE project is one of several projects that Africare has managed, and the WISE project started in 2004 in Nigeria, funded by the World Bank and the Japn Social Development Fund. And I actually conceptualized, I was country director for Africare at the time.
That's incredible. Well, now, what role has community participation played in this project?
The community played a very vital role because they helped in mobilization, sensitization, and also training the beneficiaries. They were able to put together strategies in which we could empower the young girls.
Absolutely. Now, how important was it to balance the health awareness aspects with clinical care and economic empowerment? Why not just a single focus?
Can I back up a little?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about the beneficiaries of the WISE project, because when you understand the beneficiaries, then that question becomes pretty evident. There are 4 groups of women that were targeted. The first were sex workers in the city of Abuja and neighboring cities. Abuja is the capital of Nigeria. The second were girl brides. Girl brides are young girls, 11, 12, 13, who have been forced into marriage. Many of them run away from the marriages and come to the city looking for shelter, looking for work. The third were street children, little girls, you've probably seen them hawking bananas, hawking peanuts. And then the fourth were out-of-school youth, young girls just coming to the city looking for a job before they get into college. So when you look at these different groups, you find that their needs were different, and their needs were also multiple. These women were ending up on the streets, getting involved with sex work, becoming vulnerable to exploitation. And so we needed to teach them about how to protect themselves, to take care of themselves, to protect themselves from sexually transmitted infections, from HIV. We needed to give them a source of income. You know, Nigeria is one of the most educated populations in the sub-region, yet the unemployment rates are the highest. So you have a lot of bachelor's and master's degree holders with no jobs. So for some of these young girls, they had no chance for employment. So we had to find a way to create income generation opportunities as well for them. So that explains a little bit why we couldn't just focus on one intervention. Because in order for them to really be whole and to be stable, we needed to address their health issues, their income generation issues. We needed to address their self-esteem issues. So.
Right, self-esteem must play a very large part. So how is that? Because that's not something that's very tangible that you can measure. So tell me a little bit about sort of raising the self-esteem for these women.
How we did that was through the reproductive health training and counseling. We had the faith-based counseling and psychosocial counseling. And in that we had a curriculum, told them the reproductive health was like, you need to know your body, you need to, since it's yours, you need to know how to take care of it and how to keep it, prevent it from illnesses and diseases. And the psychosocial aspect was, we also had a way of getting a psychosocial counselor to talk to them about how to, build their self-esteem in the social aspect, cultural aspect, and then the faith-based counseling too really helped because it dealt with a lot of issues spiritually, healthy relationships, sexuality in the aspect of yourself, what you really want to achieve and how to achieve it. So that was how it was incorporated into the...
Okay. If I could just jump in a little bit on the psychosocial part, a lot of these young girls were dealing with all kinds of issues, rape, incest. You know about, in some communities, female genital mutilation. They had issues with the early childbearing and the impact it had on them. So a lot of them were dealing with trauma. And so that's where the psychosocial support really came in handy. And Nigeria is a very religious society, so we thought to ourselves, what's the best way to get their attention and to win their trust? An NGO coming into their communities, didn't know them, and just say, tell me your issues and let me help you. That wouldn't work. So that's why, as Shiki was saying, we partnered with faith-based groups. Now, Nigeria is 50% Islamic and 50% Christian. So we identified an Islamic group and a Christian group that has a wide network of reach. And these are groups that the beneficiaries already trusted and they felt from a spiritual perspective. And they had counselors that worked with them to really get them through some of the issues.
Very good, very good. And so that's one of the things I want to ask you about, the results. What kind of results have we seen with this program?
Oh, tremendous results. We women who really know about themselves directly over 6,000, indirectly 26,000. That's reproductive health and business management. Then women who knew their status, HIV status and sexually transmitted infection status, over 3,000. You know, and women who did some vocational trainings, over 3,000. Who started their own businesses, over 2,000.
Wow. So you are reaching you are really reaching a lot of women here. Now, were the results a surprise to you in any way, or was this something that...
They were a pleasant surprise because everyone told us this population is hard. They're not even going to listen to you, you know, especially the sex workers, because they are used to a certain lifestyle. They're not interested in doing anything sustainable, but that was all false. In fact, to add to the statistics, out of the beneficiaries that receive vocational training, 57% of them, this is an external evaluation, 57% of them either got jobs or started their own business. And for those who started their own business, 60% of them increased their income by about 5,000 naira a month. And 5,000 naira is a lot of money in a country where 7,500 is the minimum wage per month. So for even people with bachelor's degrees. So it's unbelievable.
That was going to be my next question. What was the biggest success? But that clearly is a very, very big success. Now, your knowledge sharing panel session is about reaching the poorest and the most vulnerable. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you are facing? You will be facing.
One of the biggest challenges we faced was initially was to earn their trust, for them to tell us what their issues were and open up, but we overcame that.
Because I think, as you said, this is very psychological are the issues, and those are so deep-rooted. Now, this does mark the 10th anniversary of JSDF, and so let's talk about the future. Where do you hope this program goes?
We hope that every country that has this issue, and many African countries, at least in West Africa I know, would have a WISE project. In fact, in the initial years, I had the opportunity to meet with the Liberian president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and she loved the initiative. She wanted to really make it part of her, initial impact in the country when she first got elected, but the funding wasn't there at the time. I've spoken to the Minister of Women Affairs in Ghana, and in Accra, you don't seem to see that problem because it's a very clean and quiet. And she said, no, don't be deceived. Behind the scenes, we have many issues like this. We need this project. So there's so many countries, and even in Nigeria, there's still so many states in Nigeria that need to have this issue. One of my favorite quotes is from Mary McLeod Bethune.
Okay, what is that?
That the true worth of a nation can only be measured by the character of its woman.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful. Wow. We are going to end on such a beautiful note there. So I want to really thank you, ladies, for all of your work and for everything that you're doing and for this very important dialogue. So thank you.